Hi, I'm the infectious disease professor who's also a politician. Ask me anything. I'm Paul Tambyah. I'm at the CPF withdrawal age, or at least the promised CPF withdrawal age of 55, and I'm also chairman of the Singapore Democratic Party. OK， 第一，我很高兴我不必做这种考试。OK 第二，这个图画有很多人，这个看来是好像一个车站，有两个小孩子，他们踢一个垃圾桶，有一个女人要载她的小孩子要上巴士车，在她的后面有一个年轻人在抽烟，在她的后面有另外一个人看她赶时间，在她的对面有一个女人跟她的孩子。他们可能对那个抽烟的人很不高兴。
That's great.
Thank you. It's really hard.
很好。
Well, it's been really busy. There's been, I took 2 weeks or 3 weeks of leave actually for the GE. And so I had to catch up on a bunch of work in terms of patients, in terms of research, in terms of teaching. But at the same time, the team from Bukit Panjang has been tremendous. I mean, they've been organizing activities, they've been mobilizing volunteers. I mean, it was just amazing the number of people who showed up when we had our walkabout in the markets. We actually had to turn people away and space them out and put them in groups. My secret talent is actually writing emails. It's gotten to the stage where some people actually send me drafts of their emails and they ask me to modify them. So I discovered that I write 100 emails a day, which is really way too many. My wife says it's way, way, way too many. Oh, she's been incredibly helpful. One of the things is we have complementary sort of attributes. I mean, we share the same values in terms of major things like what we should spend our money on. But I'm a morning person, she's an evening person. I'm kind of messy and she's really, really neat. My wife teaches in the NUS Business School. She's got a PhD in consumer behavior, but her research has actually been in the field of happiness and well-being. Her actually journey in happiness research has been really interesting because she did this research for more than 20 years. And at the beginning, nobody was really interested in it. So it was very hard for her to move on in her career. But she persevered and she kept doing the happiness research. And then in the last 10 years, all of a sudden, everybody's interested in it. And she gets invited to Paris, the EU, to Japan to present her research. And so that's what I tell the young people who are interested in research. Just keep doing what interests you. Sooner or later, it's going to become relevant to somebody. A huge amounts of debates. I mean, it's, to be honest, she's often suggested that we collaborate. But our fields of research are so different that it's been very, very difficult. I mean, how do you really study the happiness of people who've got infectious diseases? So it's kind of hard. I have one young trainee who is currently doing her PhD in Oxford, and I tell her that her greatest achievement was she actually brought the two of us together to collaborate on a research paper. So there's one and only one publication that I've done together with my wife. Yeah, now that is a huge mystery. And you know that in religious groups, they're allowed to meet in groups of 50 to 100. In classrooms at the universities and tertiary institutions, we've got up to 50 people. So it's a bit hard to understand. I guess part of the thinking is that it's not so easy to control or to do contact tracing. But frankly, every time I go into a supermarket, I've got to check in with safe entry. So I think it shouldn't be too difficult to do. It just takes a bit of imagination and creativity. Yeah, I've been asked quite a few weird questions, but sadly, about a couple of weeks ago, there was this old man who asked me this question, and he had herpes when he was a young man, and he had just recently gone for a blood test, and it showed that he had antibodies to herpes. And for some reason, he went and told his family, and then his family ostracized him, and he decided that he didn't want to use the same utensils as his family members. And so he asked me, can I use the same utensils as my family members to eat? And I felt so sad that he was sort of so stigmatized, or the guilt was still in him so many years after having had herpes. And he said, could I pass it on to my children? I said, how old are your children? He said, they're 50 years old, he's got grandchildren. But herpes is not something that's going to affect someone who is 50 years old. I did a Zoom class yesterday, and it was really, really hard because you're looking at the students, but when they're looking at the camera, they're also looking at something else. They could be looking at social media, or they could be, online gambling or something for all you know. But for the face-to-face classes, the reality is that students don't really need to show up for the lecture. So the only reason they show up for the lecture is to meet their friends. So I have a very bad strategy, which is I find the person who's making the most noise, and I pick on that person and I ask them to stand up and I ask them a really difficult question, and the aim is primarily to humiliate them. And after I do that, the rest of the students keep quiet because they're afraid they're going to be next. And I know it's a bad pedagogical approach, but it seems to be effective. I haven't found the digital or online version of that, so it's really tricky. Right, now one thing I'd like to say to Bukit Panjang constituents is that we can make a difference. That I'm really grateful for the support that you've given to me and to my team. And our team has been out there week in, week out, and together we can really make a difference. Singaporeans deserve a better Singapore. We deserve a Singapore that's based on justice and equality. Singapore where everybody has a chance, where it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're elite or rich or poor or young or old. We all have a chance, we all have a part to play to make a difference, and just come forward, volunteer. It's a lot of fun. We've got nice people, we've got young people, we've got old people, we've got lots of ideas, and we can start with Bukit Panjang and we can make Singapore a really good place to live in.